All right, folks, what's up? Tim Anderson here, aka Renfail. I just woke up from my nap and they have posted an update. This is what they're calling the OGL 1.2, and they've got a post here called Starting the OGL Playtest. It was made by Kyle Brink about 30 minutes ago as I'm recording this. I don't know how long it'll take me to get it out and everything else, but this is what I'm recording. Never heard of this guy until yesterday, and he's only been around for a few months, I guess, with the company. So he's a new fish in the water, and he's been thrown out there to churn with the rest of us and give us statements such as these. So let's go through here today and see what he's got to say. This is a live reading. I've not read through this yet, so live reaction. I may have more thoughts about this beyond, which we'll probably talk about on Sunday morning with the live stream and my other videos. So don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so that you never miss an update from my channel. So he says here, for 20 years, over 20 years, thousands of creators have helped grow the TTRPG community using a shared set of game mechanics that are the foundation for their unique world and other creations. We don't want that to change. It doesn't have to. OGL 1.0a. And we've heard loud and clear that neither do you. Did you, though? Because 1.0a. So we're doing two things. We're giving the core D&D mechanics to the community through a Creative Commons license, which means they are fully in your hands. Oh, they're trying so hard to beat the ORC to the punch. If you want to use quintessential D&D content from the SRD, such as Owlbears, OGL 1.2 will provide you a perpetual irrevocable license to do so. Okay. The thing is, OGL 1.0a already gave us those rights. So, yeah. All right, let's see what else he has to say. Creative Commons is a nonprofit dedicated to sharing knowledge, and it developed a set of licenses to let creators do that. The license we chose lets us give everyone those core mechanics forever, and because we don't control the license, releasing the D&D core rules under the Creative Commons will be a decision we can never change. Again, trying to beat the ORC to the punch with this. Let's talk OGL 1.2 and the important ways it's different from the 1.0. But wait a second, hang on. I thought you just said at the very top, we don't want things to change. Well, then if you don't want things to change, why are you changing them from the 1.0a? You aren't making sense, Mr. Kyle Brink. It says, first, it allows us to address hateful content. Again, what hateful content? There is no hateful content. It is imagined. You made it up. There is no hateful content out there. Not at all. None whatsoever. You made it up. Secondly, it only applies to published TTRPG content, including on VTTs. Third, this license specifically includes the word irrevocable. Oh, they did not. Okay, yeah. This could be fun. What's not in there? There's no royalty payment, no financial reporting, no license back, no registration, no distinction between commercial and non-commercial. Nothing will impact any content you have already published under the OGL 1.0a. That will always be licensed under the 1.0a. Your stuff is your stuff. There's a link at the end of this note where you can download a PDF of the proposed OGL 1.2 along with supporting documents for your review and feedback. But before you scroll down and grab it, let's give you the details on what's in there. And by the way, I'm going to be reading through that in greater detail. And I don't know that I'll necessarily do that live. We may just skim read, depends on how long this takes us to get through. But we may just do the live reading of the proposed language on Sunday. I don't know yet. Let's see how long this video gets to be before I get to the end, though. So, what's in there? First and foremost, protecting D&D's inclusive play experience. As I said before, content more clearly associated with D&D, like classes, spells, and monsters, is what falls under the OGL, which is content that really no one was using. We were mostly focused on rule stuff. Anyway, you'll see that the OGL 1.2 lets us act when offensive or hurtful content is published using the covered D&D stuff. We want an inclusive, safe play experience for everyone. That's deeply important to us, and the OGL 1.0a didn't give us any ability to ensure it. Censorship. That's what they want here. They want 100% control to censor your content. Next up, TTRPGs and VTTs. OGL 1.2 will only apply to TTRPG content, whether published as books, electronic publications, or on virtual tabletops. Nobody needs to worry or wonder if it applies to anything else. It doesn't. So this is them coming out and making a big statement saying, we're not touching your Patreon pages, your YouTube content, your comic books, your movies, anything that you might do related to your intellectual property. And this is only about what you do with a tabletop rule set and everything within it. But that's not necessarily true, because everything within a tabletop book could then be used to create a book series, a video game, a movie, a comic book, so on and so forth. So it's still okay. Let's continue to read this. What else is in there? Deauthorizing OGL 1.0. We know this is a big concern. The Creative Commons license and the open terms of 1.2 are intended to help with that. One key reason why we have to authorize. Oh, I called it. I told you yesterday, or actually that was this morning's video. I forgot because we're doing this one in the afternoon. They're not backing down from that. Here's why they tell you they have to deauthorize. We can't use the protective options in 1.2 if someone can just decide to choose and publish a harmful, discriminatory, or illegal content under 1.0a. And again, any content you have already published will still always be licensed under the OGL 1.8. They're trying to spin this to them. Look at this. This is the funniest thing ever. Originally, this was about money. They wanted 25% of your earnings. Then they came back and said, well, actually, no, it's not about that. We just need to protect ourselves from things like NFTs and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And now they've backed away from all that, and they're making this all about how it's all about the hurtful, hateful, racist stuff that's being done with the OGL, because there's so much of that that's been published that they have to take a stand. Oh my God. Very limited license changes allowed. Only 2 sections can be changed once OGL 1.2 is live: how you cite wizards in your work and how we can contact each other. We don't know what the future holds or what technologies we will use to communicate with each other, so we thought these 2 sections needed to be future-proof. For completeness, let's sum up what else is in OGL 1.2 in the supporting documents. Virtual tabletop policy. We will continue to support VTT usage for both OGL creators and VTT operators. The VTT policy spells this out. Then ownership disputes. You own your content. You don't give Wizards any license back. And for ownership disputes, you can sue for breach of contract and money damages versus holding up products while other players are waiting while we sort it out. No hateful content or conduct. If you include hateful, discriminatory, or illegal content or engage in the conduct publicly, we can terminate your OGL 1.2 license to our content. So again, this is them dictating what is hateful content or conduct. They are literally telling you that they are still reserving the right to cancel your contract at any point in time that they want to, if you include anything that they deem harmful, discriminatory, or illegal, or engage in conduct publicly. So they are the ones who are saying, we are the thought police. We get to dictate what is published under the OGL, even though we've made this Creative Commons license. It's freely available, and you guys could do whatever you want with it. No, you can't. It's what they deem to be appropriate. This is censorship. They are the thought police. They are telling you what you can or cannot publish. Oh my goodness. And you still have to use the creator product badge. No, it says you have the option. It says you have the option to include a badge in your OGL works. Once we get your feedback on the badge, we'll create a guide on how to use it and display it. But they don't make it mandatory now. They've walked that back too. They're like, oh, it's not mandatory anymore. But, we'd like it if you did, is what they're saying here. All right, here's what we're going to have here is good faith creators, the same level of freedom or greater for things the Creative Commons to create that TTRPG document that's been so great for everyone, while giving us the tools to ensure the game continues to be ever more inclusive and welcoming. Now for the actual documents. Okay, it's going to open it here. I have no way to get that onto dark mode, so it's going to be white. There's 6 pages. Let's continue reading here real quick. We're very interested to read your thoughts. Our team does a great job compiling all the playtest feedback for us in a comprehensible way to reflect and act on, so I'm confident to do the same here. After you've read the new SRD 5.1 introduction, OGL 1.2, and the VTT policy, provide your feedback in the review documents in our survey. Not going to do it because it's on your website, and I have to create an account. Won't do it. And survey's going to be made up until February 3rd. You'll talk on or before February 17th. The process will extend as long as it needs to. We're iterating. D&D is my life's hobby because I'm fundamentally a co-op gamer. Let's tackle this together. Mr. Kyle Brink. Man, there's some dangerous shit in here. I cannot get, and I've said this since the very beginning when I first read the initial draft that they call that in the 1.1 language. Censorship of any form I will not participate in, because that allows them to dictate what they deem as discriminatory, hateful, so on and so forth. And here's the thing, whether it's content or conduct. So they're not letting you separate the art from the artist here. They're saying that it's part and parcel. If we don't like you or the content you're producing for any reason whatsoever, we will cancel your OGL. So that's still there. They've walked back the royalties and license back things because that was such a big deal for everyone. But I love how now they have made the OGL, the deauthorizing of the 1.0a. It's literally one key reason we have to deauthorize. We can't use the protective options in 1.2 if someone can just choose to publish harmful, discriminatory, or illegal content. Well, who determines and who defines what illegal content is? You, wizards. You're the ones sitting here going, we're going to be the people here telling you what's legal or illegal. Trust us. We have to do this. They, oh man, don't fall for it. Don't fall for it, everybody. There are 6 pages here of material, and it's not really long, so I'm going to give some initial thoughts because we are 11 minutes in. We'll go ahead and give this an initial read through, but I will be coming back and doing a greater read through of this document on Sunday here on a live stream, so make sure to follow along. I'll probably do that around 8 a.m. Central Time on Sunday. What is the date today? The 19th. Lost my mouse. So that's going to be on the 22nd, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, draft, I don't care about any of this stuff. I don't care about your creator badges. The core D&D mechanics located at these pages in the SRD are licensed to you under the 4.0 International CC by 4.0. This means Wizard is not placing any limitations at all on how you use that content, which is not true. Wizards is not placing any limitations at all on how you use that content. Not true. They are telling you that you can't do anything that they deem to be discriminatory or, illegal. Okay, so this is the Attribution 4.0 International language. That's a big list, and I'll be going through that at another point in time. All right, here's the meat. It says, for discussion purposes only, this is a license between Wizards of the Coast and anyone who wants to use this licensed content in their TTRPG. You agree to these terms if you use it. Blah. What's covered in here are licensed content, which is anything in the SRD 5.1 or subsequent version that we release under this license. And this is stuff that's not licensed to you under Creative Commons. That's what they were calling product identity previously. Our unlicensed content, only our licensed content is licensed under this license. Any other content we release or have released not licensed to you. Your content is not a licensed content or unlicensed content. It your content with our licensed content. Distribute the works as authorized by this license. Okay. Works covered. This only applies to printed media and static electronic files such as EPUBs or PDFs. Okay, so for your work to be licensed under this license, it must be covered as a work defined in this section. 1B, contain our licensed content and your content and not contain unlicensed content. We only are granting you our copyrights and will accept that under Section 8, blah, 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 blah. License, okay. And consideration for your compliance with this license, you may copy, use, modify, and distribute our licensed content. Okay, that's, yep. This license is perpetual, meaning that it has no set end date. Again, okay, whatever. And non-exclusive, meaning that we may offer a license to our licensed content under any conditions that we choose. And it's irrevocable, meaning that content licensed under this license can never be withdrawn from this license. It also cannot be modified except for the attribution provisions of Section 5 and Section 9A regarding notices. What you own, your licensed work, are yours. They may not be copied or used without your permission. You acknowledge that we and our licensees, as content creators ourselves, might independently come up with content similar to something you create. If you have a claim that we breached this provision or that one of our licensees did in contract content they licensed from us, then they list some things you do. And it says claim will be a breach of contract and only for money damages. You expressly agree that money damages are an adequate remedy and you will not seek entitlement or injunctive relief. In any such lawsuit, you must show that we knowingly and intentionally copied your licensed work. Access and substantial similarity will not be enough to prove a breach of this Section 3. That is fairly standard-ish from what I've seen in documents. It's definitely a lot better than what they had during the initial drafts, where they were like, you agree not to take this to a trial and all this other stuff. So this is just saying that if something does happen, you have to prove that it was intentional, and then you're only seeking monetary compensation. You're not going to look for an injunction or anything like that. So this is, it's not the best, but it's not, they've walked that back a little bit. We own our licensed content, reserve all rights. That's fine. You control your content. You must clearly indicate that your licensed work contains our content under this license. You may permit the use of any. You may permit the use of your content in any terms you want. However, if any license you offer to your licensed work is different than the terms of this license, you must include in the licensed work the attribution for our licensed content found in the preamble to this applicable SOD, which is the Creative Commons license, and make clear that our licensed content included in your licensed work is made available on the same terms of this license. Okay. Warranties and disclaimers. You are of age. You're not infringing anybody. You have the authority to do this. You're not endorsing anyone. You're not going to do any illegal content. You're not going to violate the law in any way related to your license or the licensed work. There's no hateful content or content. You will not include content in your licensed work that is harmful, discriminatory, illegal, obscene, or harassing, or engage in content that is harmful, discriminatory, illegal, obscene, or harassing. We have the sole right, holy shit, we have the sole right to decide what conduct or content is hateful, and you covenant that you will not contest any such determination via any suit or legal action. They want you to, oh my God, they want you to waive 100% of your rights. That clause right there is the kicker to this whole contract. They want you to sign away your entire rights to not pursue a suit or legal action, and that they have the sole right to determine what is hateful conduct or content. Censorship, ladies and gentlemen. Holy moly. We may only modify the provisions of this license identifying the attribution required under Section 5 and the notice provision of Section 9A. We may not modify any other provision. We may immediately terminate your license if you infringe on any of our intellectual property, bring an action challenging our ownership, trademarks or patents, violate any law in relation to your activities under this license, or violate Section 6F. So they're not required to give you any notification according to that section right there. We may immediately terminate your license according to 6F, which is them having the sole right to determine what content or conduct is hateful. Also, they can terminate your license if you breach any other term that they see and do not cure that breach within 30 days of notice to you of the breach. Wow. In some ways, I think that is way more. This is way worse than before. We have the sole right to determine what content or conduct is harmful or illegal, and you will not contest it via suit or legal action. You're signing away your rights, ladies and gentlemen, if you agree to this. My goodness. Yeah, there's some other standard stuff in here. Notices and terror agreements, no waiver of rights, severability, headings, footnotes, blah, 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 blah. Why do we need a VTT policy? I'm going to read, let's just briefly go through this. We support VTTs. Why do we need a policy? What's the line between a VTT and a video game? Using VTTs to replicate the experience. What's permitted? Can I make my Albert token look like one for the monster manual? Nope. You can't. Can't copy. Yep, okay. If you're a VT owner or operator, you have the same obligations for VT content that any other website has for copyrighted content at the DMCA, sorry. I don't really, that section I'll have to read through in greater detail. Anyway, that's my 20-minute read through. It's a horrible document. Do not sign this is my my reaction to people. They don't need it. There is no reason to move from the 1.0A to this 1.2. And they may have gotten rid of most of the things that people were concerned about, but they're still trying to stick that morality clause in there, and they're trying to make that, this is the funny thing, they're trying to make this whole thing about how, oh, the world's this hateful place, and we're going to be the saviors of it by creating the most inclusive and the only place that's going to be safe to play tabletop. It's going to be us. We're going to help you find that safe haven, and if you're not on board for that, you're a hateful, racist bigot. Nah. Reserving the right to be the only person who dictates content or conduct, and then having an irrevocable, right to cancel a contract, and the person can't sue you or bring legal action against you. Ridiculous. Wow. Love to hear your thoughts down below. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Support if you can, please, ladies and gentlemen. Do a super chat on live streams and premieres. Super thanks on uploaded videos like these. Don't forget, you can also join as a member down there. We have a Patreon page for our tabletop point and click game Fantasy World. Discord's down below, and we will be back talking about this on a live stream on Sunday. So I'll see you Sunday morning. Till then, time to digest this over the weekend. Wow.